showing what, a regular woodbine,
Mm-hmm.
original woodbine.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is 151st.
Correct.
Okay.
And
Now I
then,
gotcha.
so in the.
Oh, yeah, the sidewalk there was talked about, yeah.
Yeah, so they wanted me to bring that to the parks. I said, well, what do you want to know? From the Parks Committee.
Yeah, what do they want to know?
I don't know.
I think it's kind of,
Do we want the sidewalk? Yes.
the plan that was there, it was just kind of a concept plan, so it's not a definite, you know, here's where the alignment, I know there may be some questions about, you know, because now this would be entering into the fence line in that area, which ultimately, I think down the road, maybe there's potential because of the maintenance buildings there, I don't know if that's gonna be fenced off, so do we want to move the fence?
The black line is the fence?
The black line is the proposed fence.
Down the road, is there still the possibility and potential to put, you know, another building over there, so where do we want to put this in relation to that?
Why wouldn't the sidewalk go outside the fence?
Because of the extension of 151st Street.
Yeah, ultimately, when we widen 151st Street, there's going to be drainage there, so there's going to be basically a drainage ditch there, so
Where's this other building you're thinking is going?
don't know. I mean, and I know, you know, if you remember a while ago, there was conversations about, you know, potentially.
Yeah, and then that's kind of went by the wayside, it came out at like $700,000.
Right, so way.
So on that, but it's just, do you want to, you know, leave that open for any potential down the road, and then where you know, how and where? It was just like a general discussion, just, you know, before anything was finalized, you know, we didn't want somebody to come back and say, hey, you know, we prefer here or this or whatever.
This homeowner that lives there though,
He's gonna have to take down the trees because he put them in the easement.
And then there's also right at the intersection, there's signs for the subdivision that are in the right of way too, so if we put the sidewalk in, then one of those would have to come down. Now Keith said he would talk to them about that, he lives in that subdivision.
my only question would be, okay, so I might just not be understanding this right, but if you have the fence, and then you have the sidewalk, and then you have the person's house, wouldn't that kind of like them walking in the side of their yard? I mean, essentially it's not theirs.
Well, we would put the sidewalk would be outside of their
Outside their
fence.
property, and then the sidewalk.
Yeah, I mean, but they put that landscape and all those trees are actually in the right of way.
Oh, is that this, it looks like the
Actually,
sidewalk.
the fence, then the oak trees, and then where the sidewalk.
Right, but in this, that's not what it looks like. It looks like, because they said the black line is the fence.
No, the black line's a sidewalk.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I know.
Got it. That makes sense. Makes a lot more sense than what I was looking at. Perfect. He's got to take his trees down, it's the easy, right?
And I guess it's like the third owner or something like that, so he clearly knows it's an easement, because he would have had it on the survey.
Okay, so like I said.
It's 540 something.
Oh, this is something.
Oh,
I just want to make sure it's we're just waiting for the mayor.
so then it's not high.
Everybody introduce themselves, like.
Yeah, I think yeah, once
We
he
have to
gets here,
establish
we'll.
a quorum, and we don't have a quorum yet. The
Oh,
phone,
George just called.
he called me too, his phone's not going through. Guess what? It's going to be about 5 minutes late. Doesn't matter, we don't have a quorum unless one more trustee shows up.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just so we know who everyone is, George Ricketts.
John Simpson from Frank Rowell and Sons.
Okay.
Steve Wilson, the Carla.
Sharon Sweets, trustee.
Akram Chaudhary from HR Green.
Mike Salamovich with the village.
Heather Conrad, East Village.
Matt Walsh of the Village.
Christina Nicey, Frankie, trustee.
That's Roger's trustee.
I'll go too fast for me right now.
That's all right, we're not going to touch you on it.
I can get that, I'll email him.
Okay, we got to do a roll call. See if we got a quorum.
Rogers?
Present.
Trustee Sweets?
Present.
Trustee Trojki?
Present.
And Mayor Kadesh.
Present. Okay, no public here. Les Grant, you gonna talk?
Nope.
Okay, good. Discussion regarding Goodings Grove Park. So Mike, this is your answer now.
The contractor, Frank Berlin and Sons, they are the ones that constructed the Goodings Grove Park. They have requested a meeting with members of the board to discuss seating. So I'm going to hand it over to them as far as what their purpose for calling the meeting for, and then go from there.
Apparently, we're in a position where the seating in the park is not been accepted. And I guess it's our contention that we have contractually, we've planted twice, where we're supposed to, and I guess we feel like we're here and we did what we were supposed to, and part of the reason that the grass isn't established is we feel like it's certainly if it's enough of a priority that it sounds like it is, that it should have probably been blanketed, and the whole park has been seeded on. Took an existing pile of whatever it was, clay or some black dirt that was I think dug out from this part. I'm not sure, but I think dug out from other foundations in the subdivision. We used that, and we fire seeded it. We have done some maintenance on it, and it's still not grown in. I guess our contention is that look out here, back there, maybe other parts, it takes years to establish it, and I guess seems like, here we are. We had a whole other issue about the liquidated damages, which I'm not sure if we can address that now or not, but let's just, I guess it started with the grass establishment. I guess we feel like we're in a position where I'd like to come to some kind of resolution. I guess I'd like to get the board's take on this and what you've done in the past, I guess, with other parks and
The first
without
seating,
discussion, without specifics.
the first seating was done now when?
Was done, we did part of it in,
We were out there. Which
In or outside of the specs?
yeah,
outside.
Okay, but outside of the specs. And then the second seating was
No, we got
Beginning in June.
inside the specs.
a week, I think, outside the specs.
So both were done outside the specs.
We were, yes, and had answers to those,
Did you have sign off from the village to outside the specs?
yes.
On both?
Yeah.
that's incorrect.
Wow.
The first seating was completed, I think, at the end of November of last year. There was no permission requested by the village, and the village did not issue any permission to seat outside the specs. Second seating was done early in July. You did request, and that was after the village had sent the letter stating that we needed it reseated. It was done outside the spec. We did request the village's permission, and we did grant permission. So the first seating was not in accordance with the specs. The second one was actually outside the specs, but we did give permission.
So wait, the first one, the specs, what time frame was that? End of November? And when was it done?
That's when it was seated, at the end of November, the first time. The specs
last-
When did the original call, well, yeah, what was it supposed to be?
The specs call for, the second planting season is August 1st to September 15th. So the first planting was done, I believe it was like November 28th or 29th, right in there.
And the second was supposed to be done when?
Well, the second planting season is March 15th through June 1st.
When did you notify them that we wanted the second seating?
Initially, we had a meeting out on site, and that was early in May, and that's when we were generating the punch list that stated that we needed to have it reseeded.
I think the official notice came on June 1st.
Well, that's when we sent the notice after it hadn't been seeded, but we did state in the punch list went out before that, where we had requested it. We had an on-site meeting where we requested it. I think what was going to occur was initially we were going to, I think they were just going to broadcast seed it with like a spreader, and that's when we had reminded that the contract stated that it was hydro seeding was the acceptable method. And basically what hydro seeding is, it includes the seed, it includes mulch, it includes a, you know,
Is
a
that what they
tagnifier,
did the
which-
second time was hydro seeding?
Yes, they did. As far as the topsoil, the material that was used at the Goodings Grove Park actually came off of the Aaron Hills Park. If you recall, it was when we acquired the parcel, that was actually the topsoil stockpile for the Aaron Hills Unit 4D subdivision. So at that time, we had the highway department transfer half of the stockpile to the Goodings Grove Park site. So it's the same material, the same topsoil that was at the Aaron Hills Park.
And Aaron Hills was hydro seeded?
I don't recall how that, I'd have to take a look and see how
I
that
see.
was.
Do you remember?
I think it was. Oh, sorry. I don't.
Got the punch list, the second punch list on Friday meeting, telling us to reseed the entire park site.
The second time,
The second time, I'm sorry.
and it was done in July.
It was,
Thought it was done earlier than that, but
it was after June, well, it was June, I think June 1st, so it might have been, I'd have to take a look.
June 1st is when you sent the letter.
Yeah. It was several weeks after that.
What does the contract say if they didn't do the first seeding in the time frame that they were supposed to? Like, what's the repercussions of that?
Well, basically,
And
if
it's-
you want to,
Yeah, what happens? Like,
They have to
They
redo it.
do it.
they redo it, so that they don't redo it again. So is there anything in the contract that says what happens if it's not done again?
They did it again.
Right, they did, but now that they didn't do it again in the time frame, then what does the contract say?
It's to do it, it has to be, it has
So
to be.
right now, we're looking at for them to redo it again.
Well, we got an estimate, excuse me,
Right.
because there was a lack of topsoil. There was a request for
Okay,
topsoil.
so that's what I'm asking, so your side is that you feel that there's not as much topsoil.
We didn't get a timely response to be able to get topsoil to finish the job. There was enough topsoil there for half the project, and I requested it, what was it, September 24th, then I get a response to October 24th. That's past.
I got the exact dates, but, you know, they're all past September 15th season, half the park wasn't even had black dirt on it.
now, in response to that, when the HR Green was, they were the firm that did the design work for the park and they did the topo. As part of the topo, they did calculations on the topsoil stockpile that was on the site. Based on the volume calculations of the stockpile, there was enough topsoil to cover the entire site with, I believe it was 3 inches of topsoil.
But it calls for 4.
After, I believe, the contract, I think that the plans had said 3. After, when the topsoil issue came up and we had stated that we believe that there should have been enough, I had HR Green recalculate to make sure that there was enough topsoil, and based on that, they stated that, yes, there should have been enough topsoil to cover the entire site. Now, we did try to, there was a topsoil stockpile adjacent to the park property, so to try to help them, we did contact, it was Gallagher and Henry, so we did contact Gallagher and Henry, and it took quite a while to get a response from Gallagher and Henry to give permission to use their stockpile. But there, according to the calculations, there should have been enough to cover the entire site.
Okay, but the specs called for 3, you're saying it should have been 4.
No, you were telling me last meeting, it should be 4.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, there's a pile over there.
The specs say 3, I mean, they have to follow the plans of the specs, so
Yeah.
they have to follow these, and that says 3.
Okay, so if there should have been enough topsoil, where did it go?
I believe it was in areas on the western half, it was probably overspread, so there's probably
By who?
more by the contractor.
I mean, there's a pile over there, and they said, use this to spread.
Across the whole site, and the whole west side of the site was nothing but garbage, bricks. It was a dumping ground, and you have to cover that. So, I mean,
It's not, I mean,
It's one
and
thing.
there's more dirt right there, I mean, you know, it's never communicated to us until after the fact
too late.
that, oh geez, you should have made this whole pile work. I mean, we didn't need more, and we requested several times after September 15th, you know, for more dirt, and we didn't hear until October 15th. You know, I have to say the specific date, but it's all after the seeding, the site for, we did some of the seeding before the 15th, didn't we?
No,
No?
there was no seed, and that was one of the things we had also requested that.
Yeah, we did it twice. I mean, the site was seeded twice. I'm actually looking right now.
I'm just saying, if we had enough for half the site, would it have pacified everyone here that half the site was just seeded on time?
Well, we're going by the calculations of the engineer that did the project, and he's saying that there was enough there to be able to get this thing done.
That's not the case, though.
But that's not the case. I've been doing this for a long time. I requested it way earlier than I had it spread.
Do you have that paperwork that says 3 inches should have been enough?
I would have to get
Because
that.
if you pulled it out and you were to see that at that point, why didn't you say, no, it needs 4?
Well, it's not a matter of that it needs 4, I mean, the plan
It's
called
half the
for
site,
3 inches, so that's what they were
Eventually
required
matter.
to
The
put
site
down.
was seeded
So
for
the
the
inch
second
doesn't
time.
matter is what I'm asking, because you did say it mattered earlier.
The
Now-
second seed
It was
was
June
15th.
15th.
It's half the site that was short.
And we did, at the time that they had the half site, we did request that they at least seed that area. The response was that they were waiting to seed it because they wanted to get the playground equipment and everything, because they were going to go through the area from the parking lot to the playground area and disturb that. So that was the reason that they said that they did not want to seed the entire site, even though the back half wouldn't have been disturbed by anybody going in and out.
Yeah, that would make sense.
When you-
Drive it in.
When you do the calculations on the dirt, like, excuse my ignorance, so what do you do? When did you look at the dirt? Because I'm thinking, we finished Erin Hills years ago. If you're saying that that dirt was, you know, you're fine, you know, 2 years ago, I'm saying, no, it's not, because it's been rained on forever, so there wasn't enough there. So when was the calculations done to say?
During the design, when we were doing the design, we took the topo and then calculated the dirt that, the pile that was there. And then based on 3 inches, we determined that the dirt was enough.
What is
How
that
they
date
spread
though?
it, we don't know. Pardon?
Yeah, what is that date?
See,
I mean, are we talking months or are we talking like a year?
It was,
it was during the design process. I don't know when that pile was there, but we calculated that dirt that was enough.
it was quite a while ago, because this, if you recall, this park site, we did receive a grant, but because the state put a hold on things, it did sit there for a while.
Yeah, so those numbers are probably wrong. I mean, if a big pile of dirt is sitting there for 3 years and you say 3 years ago it was at 10 pounds, so I could be 10 pounds in 3 years. you know?
Well, I mean, it shouldn't deviate. I mean, if anything, there would be maybe at best some minor, but I mean, for the most
That's
part. it should-
speculation.
Well, I would like to know
Was it
the
so-
timing
Is there a
on
possibility
that.
that it was taken over the years? 'Cause I understood from Dave that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I'd have to take a
I
look. and
mean,
see.
contractually, black dirt, that's what we're calling this, is provided for us. It doesn't say,
Sure.
here's that pile, anything you need more than that, you have to bring in. Is that correct?
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think we do our best to, you know, spread the dirt to 3 or 4 inches, and, you know, if half the park is still there, you know, and there's another pile over there, you know, can we use that pile? And it took a month, to get that answer.
Was it even our dirt?
No.
No, it was Gallagher and Henry.
The other pile was Gavin and Henry,
So
that's
at
why we
that
had to
point,
get their
why-
permission.
At that point, why didn't we just say, well, we have to get dirt somehow, if we're not hearing from Gallagher and Henry? And even in 2 weeks, they're saying it took a month to at
Could
least.
have got some off of 159th Street.
But at that time,
I mean, if they're saying, even if it was, you know, enough to spread 5 inches of dirt, if they still said we ran out, we need it, where was the evaluation to say we need more dirt, or how are we gonna get it?
In their defense, we didn't finish the job until November, and we're only mobilized once, but it is, it's certainly past in September.
So the first thing we
15.
know was surpassed by your doing.
Because they were late delivering it.
No. No dirt.
Well, part of the reason for the establishment of the seed, this, you know, was, you know, we didn't have a dirt pile until mid-October.
Until 12.
Okay. So, by the time we, you know, spread the dirt and hydroseeded it, you know, we were into the, you know, late November.
Yeah, it's not gonna, I mean,
It's not gonna, you know, it's not gonna grow. And
but you put the
They-
seed down anyways?
Yeah.
Because we told you to do it, or because you just said, well, we gotta put the seed down?
well,
To call the project complete, it has to have been seeded.
Right,
And
but
because
you,
you
we all know,
guys
you guys
have
are
a grant,
professionals.
you guys have a grant from,
Exactly.
Right, you're professionals, you guys know, if I'm putting the
Well-
seed down just to say it's completed, and we're putting it in a number, it's just throwing money out the window, right?
but you guys, there's something to do with.
well, and there was.
You've got an open space grant page for the project.
we ended
So
up getting
regardless-
extensions,
Okay.
you know, because of basically the grass wasn't established, so we had to get an extension to the grant. Which we did.
And the thought is that we, if it wasn't accepted, that we'd come back and, you know,
Yeah,
fill in.
we don't run away.
We'd fill in, you know, spots that hadn't grown. And so, you know, in May, we got notice to reseed the whole park, which.
Which you said you would do, which you said it wasn't accepted,
But-
okay?
And we did, but, you know, by the time we got, you know, I mean, frankly, I think, you know, we talk about, you know, hearsay, if it, you know, on April 1st, we said you're having to reseed the park, I think it got done in the window. As it was, it got done on the 15th of June, which was a couple weeks after the IDOT window.
The site's a pickle because there's probably, you know, 12, 14 feet of pitch from one end to the.
So you figure it's a toboggan, it's a
By the time we
toboggan.
get a hard rain, it all washes north.
I mean-
He's back at it again.
So,
It's a pickle.
you go down to the bottom of the site, beautiful grass, I mean, there's probably 1,000 plus 1,500 pounds of grass in there. So you're talking from the front to the back, it's probably as steep as a slide like your kid's son. I'm spraying hydroseeding is paper and organic glue, for lack of a better explanation. Giving that pitch, it is not, in my professional opinion, it's not the best method for establishing seed. I mean, if you guys go out on the back half of the park here, you still have bare spots, you still have weeds. We went back out and we reseeded. I mean, I don't know if you ladies have been out there, if you guys actually been out to the park recently.
I'm gonna say no.
Gotta ask the question, gotta ask the question. So, we've seeded it, you've got a relatively decent standard. Here's the problem. To spray the weeds and kill the weeds, which to my understanding is the point of contention, I spray the weeds, the herbicide was supposed to wait 3 to 4 weeks before I go seed. So, I'm kind of stuck in the middle here, so I spray the weeds, kill the weeds, which is your contention, but to go back to seed to fill in bare spots, I gotta wait a month.
And then there's more weeds grow. I mean, I guess in our opinion, you know, we've been, you know, this is the 4th generation, we've been 55 years, we've never had the issue. I think it takes a couple, 2 to 3 years to establish.
Without money.
Yeah, and then after we did it the first time and it all washed away, we said, you know, we should be blanketing this, and the blanket keeps the seed in place.
Have you ever said to the people here, we should blanket this?
That's me, the engineer.
The,
Texas.
and
You with the hydro seed or you blanket? you blanket it and do a 5-to-1 slope or more. Areas flatter than that, you do hydro seeding. And we had hydro seeding inspect, you didn't need blanket. for
Well,
that.
let me ask you this, have you seen the site and seen where it all washes out? Have you been to the site?
Well, I am not the engineer that was on site. So
No, I know that. I'm just saying, I mean, it's
cannot answer the
physically-
question.
The rain washed, certainly after he seeded it, washed a lot of it.
We're
Not 100%, washed it all north down into the gully.
I think
And it's not the best material to seed on either. I mean, it's not good organic.
So it's our responsibility to provide the dirt, right?
I think one thing that needs to be brought up as well too is this project got a pre-bid meeting. So basically, we met with any potential bidders. They were given the opportunity to look at the plans, look at the site. Any questions, comments, or concerns, that's the time that they would have been brought up. No comments, no questions. Actually, Frank Rola and Sons, they were the only ones that actually attended the pre-bid meeting. At that time, we did inform them of the specific requirements that we needed to get the proper grass established. No comments, questions, or concerns were brought up as far as needing to blanket the entire site. No comments or questions about the hydro seeding. Hydro seeding isn't acceptable method. Anything, I did Amber mention, anything on the site that is below 5-to-1 slope was hydro seeded. Anything greater than a 5-to-1 slope did include the blanket.
What is it actually?
It varies on the site. So, there's no constant. I mean, it is a sloping site, but that's the park site that we ended up with. One thing that needs to be also brought up is there is maintenance requirements once the seeding is in place. Basically, the contractor is required to do pretty much whatever it takes to get the grass to grow, whether it's including watering, fertilizing, mowing, weeding, those sorts of things. To the best of my knowledge, the park, the seed was never watered. Especially the initial mowing, we had sent a letter that they needed to get out there and mow because
Whose responsibility was it to water?
the contractors.
Okay.
It's part of the maintenance for establishing the seed.
Did you guys water?
No, it was not water. And I'm going to ask the question, I'm probably dragging a whole other issue. But you've got a park right back here that was a maintained golf course up until you guys, I think, took it over 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. You've got areas that are probably in the same condition. I'm just trying to figure out what the village's expectation.
This is all under construction.
I'm looking at the areas that have been finished and have been seeded out.
We haven't finished anything, we just started construction last month.
No, I'm not talking with the section that's under here. If you come out along the parking lot
Oh, you
here.
mean the part we just did right in front of here?
Parking lot area.
The parking lot area, you're talking the fairways off or whatever.
Okay.
I mean, if you guys walk out there and actually look at it, in my professional opinion, I mean, it is in no better shape than what we're being called on the carpet for. I was out here August 2nd, and I can stick my finger through the cracks in the ground. So I'm being asked to water a site with 1 hydrant.
We haven't released that contract though either.
We haven't paid for that thing yet. With that, we will check that in spring again, and if it is not, the grass is not taken off, and we don't have a 2-inch strand of grass, they will have to reseed it, and it's their responsibility to establish that grass, and we are holding that 3 item, and the contract under that. We had discussion with the contractor, Austin Toiler, and they agreed to it that in springtime, if it has not taken off, they'll come back and reseed it. So we have not accepted that.
Okay,
This was done about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, I'm just asking because I was out here, like I said, I was out in the area on August 2nd or 3rd and stopped. My issue or contention, so you want me to control the weeds, but you want me to establish grass. If I go to apply herbicides to control the weeds, I can't seed for 3 to 4 weeks.
It doesn't necessarily, I guess, there's, at the very least, mowing, just to keep everything uniform. But besides the weeding, like I said, the watering, fertilizing, and then the mowing, those sorts of things.
And I'll say this, we're not saying we're done, we're not gonna do anything more. But I'd like to, I guess we'd like to establish, we came back and reseeded it after, on June 15th. There's still some areas, I think we're in a position that we will take another attempt at it. I don't think hydro seeding is the way to do it. Is that a safe?
In my opinion, so if I can get the grass established, you guys are very much about hydro seeding. If I can get the grass, do you care what means I go about to try and get you your stand of grass?
What are you looking to do?
Either blanket a couple of bigger thin areas. If you come in off the parking lot, you've got the bike path or the path leading down towards the playground. I've got 2 sections there, in my opinion, with the way that site on good rain washes, I would like to blanket. I would like to go back out there, spray the site down again, kill off the current batch of weeds. If we do that this week, that puts us mid-September, which should be cooler and hopefully rain on a little more regular basis. Go back out there with the tractor and slit seed or slice seed the entire park site again. I mean, we have a fairly decent stand of grass growing on about half of the site.
And there are areas that the grass is maybe not fully established, but it's on its way. And, they're definitely not as bad. There's other areas, and even, it varies. There's some that are, the slopes are a little bit, a little bit more pitched, and then there's other areas that they're somewhat relatively flat, and, and they don't have seeds, so.
Can this be done by September 15th? That's our season.
You're August 22nd right now.
August 22nd, I mean, if I go out there tomorrow and spray it, I'm pushing it on 3 weeks, which puts me, I think, probably at September 15th or just.
Yeah, this says 3 to 4 weeks.
And for today, I mean, we're pushing just to spray the site off to kill the weeds before I go back out there to seed another time. If I went out tomorrow and sprayed it, and I would be basically at about the 15th to go back and seed it again.
And you need how much more dirt?
The dirt's there. That point of contention, the dirt was installed, but the contention is that pushed us past the initial seeding deadline in the fall of September. The dirt's there, the site's been graded. I have a halfway decent stand of grass. I'm trying to get this thing done. You guys release Berla, we all hopefully go on our.
Let me ask this. What was the issue? You've had issues with establishing grass before, is that correct? Can you give me some background on what happened there and what the resolution was there?
I mean, basically, it was kind of the same thing, having, making sure that the grass was fully, established to a point where we can accept it. Again, basically just having to go out there and reseed.
And tell me how that process went and what?
I don't recall the specifics, so I would have to check.
Does anybody? Just curious, what part was that?
I think we've just had issues at actually a couple parks. That was kind of I know at Kingston Hills Park it was splotchy, and that was when I first got to the village. So I
guess my contention is, we will attempt to do it again, and I think 3 times is, we can argue, a week or a month, or depending on which time it was after the date, but we're trying to make it right. But I think if anybody that's knows grass, it's going to take. I don't know that you can do it in 3 or 4 months period.
So I mean, that's end of the parking lot looking down. I mean,
so
yes, they
I guess
I'm not arguing that. Actually, some of the areas.
In 55 years, I don't try to everything fall back. I mean, and I'm not that has anything to do with you guys, but I think we make an attempt at it. Eventually,
I mean, that's where the dirt pile came from.
Eventually, it
It
goes
came out of
in.
that patch. So I mean, I'm fighting.
And if you're trying to control
So
weeds,
you have to kill the weeds in here, of course, it's pictures.
the place that's had weeds all around, we spray them, they come back up, we spray them, they come back
I mean,
up.
I've got to spray it.
I like a solution because
It's the same thing.
I mean, I'm not like John's saying, I'm not,
Well, if you guys are making an attempt to do it again, and you're just seating and blanket again, at whose cost?
I mean, and one thing too is.
But he's saying, when is enough enough? Like, when are you
Well,
gonna?
what does the contract say?
Per the contract, it's their responsibility.
Yeah, it's their responsibility to get it done, they agreed to it, none of these terms brought, or
Is
these
it
brought
in-
before.
I understand, but a bad design, you know, if you could take a building and the design is bad and it happens, it's not 100% on the contractor. It has washed away. Is that our
Right,
responsibility?
well, if you're saying you're gonna blanket, you feel blanketing's gonna work?
Well, I think it's. I think
Like it also slows it down because the water doesn't just flow over the seat and take it out. You're working with something very big, very heavy, and it's taken down.
Yes, but during the previous meeting, like, you know, Mike had stated that you had no concern at that time that you had the plans, you had the specs, and that's why you bid on this contract, and at that time you didn't bid that.
So the design part of it has no responsibility?
I'm just saying that you have the plans, you have the specs,
I understand.
and then, if you go on sheet 21,
Medicine dirt is full of weeds.
it exactly tells you what needs to be done. It says the maintenance shall include all operations required to produce an established norm, including but not limited to fertilizer,
Just keep killing.
mowing, reseeding, watering, and weeding. And that's in there on sheet 21. You can read that one, and that's what
If you
we're.
design this building and it falls down and I build it, I mean, if it should have been
We're not
like
talking about a
that.
building, we're talking about a seeding a lot.
So that might be something that's.
I guess my contention is I appeal to the board that if you provided,
How do you stop the washout?
Well, I think the
guess
blanket
just
would
keep
probably
going.
be the best for certain areas.
We did have a PIL there for blanket in certain area where it
Oh.
felt it was needed.
can
Or
we
put
agree
it on,
that
and then everything just drives it nuts.
church
You get good
establishment
in training, plus
was
training,
a big concern?
I mean, I blanked.
There could have been better, things could have been done better from the design end to establish the turf.
Hydro seed is an acceptable method, so I mean, again.
I understand, but good black dirt's all, a good organic black dirt is also acceptable, and blanket is also acceptable.
Well, and areas, you stated that there's areas on that site that the grass is growing.
Where it's all washed down to the.
But then there's, so it's, I mean, but then you state that the topsoil is bad. Well, obviously, if the grass, it's all the same topsoil, so if there's grass growing on some areas then, and not on the others, then it's not a topsoil issue. It's, again, we go back to the pre-bid meeting, and it is your responsibility, if you're going to be bidding on a project, to review the plans, review the spec, and visit the site. And if there's any questions, comments, or concerns, that's the time that they would have been brought up, so that we could have sent out an addendum, if necessary, and added or changed or adjusted the contract. But there was no questions, comments, or concerns. We did bring up specifically that the grass needed to be established. It states in the contract that it is the contractor's responsibility to do basically do whatever it takes to get the grass to grow, including the watering, reseeding, whatever. The first time that it was seeded, it was out of spec. I mean, nothing was going to grow at the end of November. You're going into winter, so, so I mean.
So you're just saying that you don't feel like the park district has, or the village, has any responsibility for the condition that this is in?
No. Everything was included in the plan specs.
Reply to that.
Everything was included in the plan specs. Like I said, it was the contractor's responsibility to visit.
So even if I don't have black dirt, or enough dirt, furnish it, even if it washes out, come back again, and keep coming back, for how long?
We believe that there was, I mean, you are more than welcome to, if you want to do the blanketing, then, that's an acceptable method, but the hydro seeding is also an acceptable method. I mean, yes, we've used it out here, and there are areas that need to be reseeded, and the contractor will be doing that, but it is also growing in areas as well too, so.
Well, the blanket is better than the hydroseeding, or is the hydroseeding better than the blanket?
The blanket probably is ultimately gonna be a little bit better.
Okay, well, that's what they're willing to do, so.
Well, and that's what I said, I mean, if they're willing to do that, that's fine, but,
But what if it doesn't work? What if we're back here at the table saying it's working, then what?
Okay,
That's what they're asking.
here's my point, since ultimately this is gonna fall in my lap. To kill the weeds, which seems to be everybody's contention. I can spray, I can
Let me
see.
ask you, is that, what's your thought about seeding it without killing the weeds, kill the weeds at some point down the road after the grass is established?
Doesn't it choke out most of the grass? Doesn't
Yeah,
it
you
choke
gotta
out
kill
most of
the
the
weeds
grass?
first. I mean, that's-
The weeds
Here,
are coming
I'm gonna
through
get
that.
Here's the issue. So I killed the current batch of weeds because it's bare ground, then the next batch of weeds is gonna fill in as I'm sitting there twiddling my thumbs, waiting to the point I can actually grass it.
But, right, so you're saying that it could be something that you could blanket over weeds, and then it would kill all the weeds?
So we could go in,
I just,
slit seed, slice seed, however, whatever wording you want to use with the tractor. Go through, hit the whole park again. Now we're getting back where we got rainfall and it's not 90 degrees and dry as a fall. Rye grass will germinate in 7 to 14 days. We can get some grass coming out once more of that is established, go back out and spray it off again. I mean, I can keep spraying the weeds that are there, but then we can't seed because the seed isn't gonna do a damn thing if we keep spraying weeds.
Won't the weeds act as a blanket for you?
This is what I'm asking you, is you guys obviously, when you said 50 years, been this 50 years, how do you kill weeds and then make grass grow?
No,
Don't you just normally
the
do
majority
this
of the
in your
parks that we do,
profession?
the majority of the parks that we do, I would say 95% of them it's all blanket.
Okay, so we're doing blanket now. We
Yeah,
established
that's
we're
part of
doing
the
blanket.
pay.
Wait, you guys said you would cover that, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
We're not clearing the whole park.
Right.
There's no
You
reason.
said there's areas that need blanket, areas that.
There are areas, yes.
Seed.
I just clarified that we're not starting, you're not carrying all of the green area, turf, whatever you want to call it right now. We're not clearing the whole park.
no.
You're going to, you got like those couple pictures, you kind of see where I scribbled. There's some areas, yes, I, in my opinion, we'll blanket it. I weighed the cost of the blanket. I would just like to get this done.
Okay, so just so we're on the same page, you don't need any more dirt, the dirt that's there
The
is
dirt,
fine.
that issue
Dirt
was
that's there is
resolved
fine.
in October, November.
Okay.
That
You're
issue
gonna put
is,
blanket where it needs to be blanket and, but you kill the weeds first. You kill the weeds first.
I killed the weeds first, I had 4 weeks before I go and attempt to seed.
And then
Now
we
the question
seed
becomes,
or put blanket on.
correct, but the issue becomes
That's what it's.
outside of spec, outside of the timeline. I'm
By
trying to.
how many days?
If I spray it tomorrow and I seed it, I will be seeding right around the 13th, 14th, something of September.
Of September.
Grass, you will not see any additional grass for at least 2 weeks after that date.
I
So-
thought the specs were between August and September.
Well, yeah, but
I can physically seed it, but grass will not come up.
Okay, grass normally doesn't come up until when? When we say.
From 7 to 14 days, you'll start to get some perennial rye grass.
So which would be the end of September.
Yeah, so we're already out of the dates on this.
No, it's still September. Right?
September 15th.
September 22nd is the first, because I'm looking at the calendar, September 22nd is the first that you could actually go out and reseed.
And then we had weeks after that.
Basically, either they put from August 1st to September 15th, weather is not that hot. So in that window, if they can seed it, then they still got some time with seed can take
Or
off.
it's
You know,
cold,
the
it's
next
gonna be
couple of weeks, end of September or early part of October, it will grow.
No,
But
it's,
if you go any later than that, then you're running into winter and then
Freezing.
the grass
I mean,
grows.
other than, you know, obviously, once the, you know, the biggest issue is to try to get the grass established. I mean, is there necessarily a need to spray the weeds? Get it, like you said, if we get it mowed to, you know, to the staff, you know, to a short, seeded, blanketed, so that you're still within your seed window, get the grass established as quickly as possible, and then deal with the weeds
You can deal with the weeds afterwards with
Yeah,
fertilizing.
but the biggest thing is
grass
to get the
and
seed
killing
and give you enough time to get the seeds to grow.
I'm perfectly fine with that. I mean, as a subcontractor to Berlin, I know there's been discussion back and forth with the village about yanking their bond and liquidated damages. I mean, I'm looking out for Berlin, but in the same breath, I'm trying to cover my own reputation.
Mhm.
I am fine with doing that, but are we all going to come to an agreement where the letters of we're going to pull your bond and all this back and forth, which I think is a good part of Berlin's contention at this point? I mean,
Well,
correct me if I'm wrong.
I just feel like that if, you know,
There's a shared
And- and-
responsibility.
if we do it a third time, you know, if you find a spot that's as big as this tablet, you know, in November, are we in the same spot again? I mean.
No, I mean,
know
there's
that
common
you
sense,
can-
and there's a percentage, I think, you know, of, that it needs to be, at least the grass needs to be established. I mean, if there's, you know, a small patch, and
I
that's
mean-
one thing, then, you know, something, you know, the size of this.
Well, and I guess I'm trying to figure out if,
Where's the goalpost?
what's reasonable, given the fact that, you know, you've had issues in the past and we've never had issues. How many times do we have to try that? I know you're gonna say until it's established, but,
John, I mean, if we're using, we'll call it common sense for lack of a better word, considering we're in government here.
I don't know where you're going with that.
Yeah.
For the record, that's yours.
All right, I mean, are we gonna, if you're seeing spots the size of my phone, I mean, are we talking, if you've got bare spots the size of
If
a,
we have residents not consistently calling us and telling us, oh my God, you guys got ripped off, where's our tax?
This isn't
dollars,
common
this is
sense.
this," Yeah, that's the only place we need to be at, because I can't.
so basically if the residents stop voicing their opinions, you guys are,
Well, as a human being, I go out there and look at it, it needs to be acceptable to us, but our thing, I don't have any kids. So I only go when they go look at this. We were supposed to have a function there, we canceled it. So I'm like, we're not working people out here. Because people are constantly calling and saying, you, look at how we spent our tax dollars. And I'm like, I get it, we're fixing it, we're working on it. It's been a year, but we're working on it. This isn't acceptable, this isn't, you know, this isn't how.
I'm not disagreeing, not arguing that point.
So that's, we wanted to look to where we can put a mower on it and mow it, and it can look mowed, and people can feel comfortable putting their kids on the grass. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that's really, that equipment out there is small, it's for small kids. So these kids are in the
But
grass.
and I understand that, I mean, my son's son. Even if we go back seated, I mean, I don't know how the Parks Department's operation is, but I mean, that site is still, I mean, do you guys pay a true green or a spring green or something to that effect to treat any of the rest of the parks in the village?
The Parks Department.
Okay. I mean, because even if we get it cleaned up, I mean, if I kill off 95% of the weeds that are out there this year, you're still gonna have a whole new crop of stuff come back up spring next year.
And I think once they get it established, they do the weed and feed and, you know, and the weed and whatever, you know, they can take care of that.
Okay.
But we need to get it established before they start, I'm assuming, putting that stuff down, you know.
I mean, I've actually gone out there, I personally gotten on one of my machines, I mean, we have sprayed that 2 or 3 times and fertilized it. I mean, I can quote dates and hours, and if it really comes to that, but for the sake of argument and everybody's time, because I'm sure everybody else got some other places we all like to be, if I go back out there, we mow this thing as tight as I can get away with, come back out with the tractor, slice seed the whole park, we wait a couple weeks to get something to start coming back up, then I can come back out and spray. I mean,
What date, now where's it, I lost track of times, now where are we at, we're at the end of September?
so we're
You're not gonna spray it first.
we're not spraying first. I mean, that was,
Okay.
so,
That's what it was, on everything else.
so we're kind of, there's a couple different scenarios we can run. The scenario that gets the seed down within the specs, your contract specs, the only option I have right now is we go out, mow the whole site about as close as we can get away with. I come back a different day with a tractor and a basically a set of knives and a cedar on the back of a tractor, hit the whole park again. That gives us a couple weeks to still be within the window for the grass to come out. Then we can come back in spring.
It's probably the best option, I mean, the best way to get the most seed established.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be doing any kind of blanketing of the big areas?
We'll blanket sections of it. I mean, I can't say we're doing 50 by 60 or we're doing what. Yes, I mean, we will go back out.
The big areas at least, to try
I
to.
mean, like you walk down the path going towards the play equipment, I mean, you got two sections either side there and that kind of that swale. That needs some seed. Yeah, there's a section on the far side going towards the top of the field. There's an area out there that I believe would benefit for some blanking. I mean, if we
So,
go,
you know, the reality is it doesn't get done, if it doesn't
It is,
get established, we're gonna be back here again.
we're gonna be back here again, but we're trying to work with the village and they're gonna have, I mean, we're in a, we signed a contract, we're in a no position right now.
Is it better just to blanket though? I've seen at Culver Park, I mean, we're working on sewers.
Originally,
Blanketing out there, it works well, and I mean.
It should have been blanket,
if
but
we
it
started
wasn't.
from the
It's
get-go,
very costly.
Okay.
And, you know, well, I guess because we signed a contract, we're responsible for it, even though it didn't call for a blanket.
I'm just saying, if you knew it should have been blanketed, why didn't you say, we can't do this?
Well, the
because
same
it should be
reason
blanketed instead of seed.
that you
That's
don't
what
put
I was
6
told.
coats of paint on this because it calls for 2, but 6 would have been better. I mean, you have to contractually do, if you want to get the job. I see what you're saying, but.
I'm building a house right now, I would expect my contractors to say, I know you want to go cheap.
What about the
And
designer,
be,
the architect?
I want to say, well, whoever it may be, I would hope the architect, the contractor, whoever it is, would say, ma'am, your engineer said this needs seed, but it's better off to do.
And
I would just hope that would be, and
I
I hope the
understand,
situation
but by
would be the
the
same.
reality, if it didn't rain for 3 weeks and the seed got established, then all the seed maybe wouldn't have
I'm on a
gotten off.
farm, I understand how it was last year with the rain, I get it, we were flushed out, I get it. But this was after that season, this was the flooding season was in October, it was actually October.
Yeah,
14, 15,
but it
16,
did rain
21st,
in-
22nd, when the big rain,
I
it
guess
did
my-
9.5 inches of rain. This is, you seeded in November. You should have known that the seed wasn't gonna go.
that it was
It was just
gonna rain.
waste, you're just
But
throwing
we'd be in
money
the
out.
same boat.
Well, at least you wouldn't have wasted all that money in the beginning. You could have said, listen, we need to do this
in spring.
at this point in spring. We can't do it now, it's too
But
late.
we had liquidated damages that,
We wouldn't have said, we didn't at that time. This was never brought up back then. We would have simply said, at least I would have, I understand the situation. I get it. I'm there right now. I understand what you're going through. Let's wait until spring. And instead, you guys decided to wait even after the spec time, from March to June, you did June 15th, which even you guys were 2 weeks later, and then you're talking about spraying weeds. Yeah, no wonder. No wonder it didn't grow. Because you were outside the specs like you said the last time. So I mean, I get it, but I just think there should be some responsibility on you guys.
we're not walking away from it.
I'm not saying you are, I'm not saying you are. And I agree, there's some responsibility on it for us, because if this is the dirt pile that we originally gave them, that's shit dirt, right? So that's all infested with weeds and all that other fun stuff too, that they have to challenge on as well. They have to fight the weeds that we're giving them.
We don't know what that.
Yeah, and you don't know what it is, so I see all ends of the spectrum here, I just want to get done. Let's just get done, let's just be over with this. Let's say you're not gonna spray now for weeds, is that what we're coming to?
No, we're gonna chop it.
We're doing it.
You bring it as close to the ground as possible.
The weeds
They
just
spray
like
it.
over your head, you're not killing the root.
Correct. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna put a blanket over it, the grass will still start growing. That holds everything in place. As soon as it starts growing, then it's fertilized to kill the weeds. Because they make a fertilizer that kills weeds and feeds grass.
And you think that's the best solution? Best solution, not
That
just
is
to
the,
get over this.
that is the best option we have to make the
Okay.
time came to make to come somewhat close to being inspected.
Okay, and the blankets, you're doing the blankets in those areas, because like you have pictures of where the blankets need to be done.
Yes. So we'll come out and mow it, I don't know, let's say Wednesday, Thursday or Friday, a couple guys out there, we'll get it mowed.
As tight as you can.
As tight as the ground will allow us here for all the rocks and everything that keep coming back up through there. But, so we'll mow it this week. I will have a couple guys out there at the beginning of next week. We will re-rate a couple of the sections that need to be blanketed. We'll come out with the tractor, we'll slice seed the whole site. hopefully Mother Nature's a little more accommodating and we're out of 90 degrees and dry, that still puts us within spec. So once I've got more grass coming back, I'll pull it back out again and just spread out the weeds back down for like site living in it.
So when should we expect to see this, the dairy green? I'm not gonna hold you to it, but at least.
I'm trying to make it educating.
The only reason why it's at that point, then we can say, listen, stop whatever we're doing, do whatever we need to do, and we're, you know what I'm saying? Like, we need to be on top of it as well, we can't just let it go.
And I think one thing too is, I mean, you know, obviously,
You're talking that week of you're talking the week probably September 10th to start seeds.
But she wants to know when.
No, as long as it's little green, that's all.
As long as
Fresh
you see
green.
something.
Fresh. She sees fresh green.
She sees grass coming through the weeds.
So I mean, if we mow this week, the guys get out the start of next week. So to give me 2.5 weeks puts me into the week of September 10th.
I think one thing, again, to keep in mind is that there, I mean, if we're not getting enough rain to get this stuff established, it is still the contractor's responsibility to water that. So I want to make it clear that, you know, it's not a put the seed down again and.
It's fine. I mean, if you guys are going to hold me to watering, can you get me a better contact person from Illinois Americans?
Ray Fowler, and I'll get you his information.
Because I've tried getting a hold of them.
Yeah, you can easily get a meter from them.
I've tried getting a hold of them. I can't get a hold of them.
I will get you the contact person,
Okay.
a good person to work with, and he'll get you taken care of right away.
Right, because I've tried and I couldn't get a return phone call from Illinois
And
Americans.
like I said, his name is Ray Fowler, so I'll get you.
Okay, so now, we're here September 10th, and we don't see any green, what happens?
I mean, they're still gonna have to do the watering, they're still gonna have to do everything, and if we're not, you know, getting us, you know, established, I mean, you know, we're gonna have to follow, you know, still follow through with the contract. I mean, I don't know, we'll have to assess it and see what's happening at that time, see what, you know, what's causing the problem. I mean, I would be surprised if we don't get, you know, especially, you know, if they're watering and, you know, we're doing it, you know, per the specs.
I could be very surprised if we didn't see it.
I would be
guess
surprised
that's where
if
we're
not.
at, we wanna know how much longer this is gonna go on, right? That's the whole intention.
I'm trying to figure out what that
If-
connection really.
In theory, it's not rocket science. We've done it twice after the season window. I'm pretty confident this will work this time.
So you're confident enough to say if it doesn't work this time,
Well, we're contractually obligated.
Yes,
Tom,
okay.
So, I mean,
so let's
you know,
get out there.
yeah, I mean,
Hungry. Is that good? I mean, does that work?
That's what we got.
Okay.
Mike, when do we want to address the damages?
I think what we'll do is that would probably be A and F. So I have it on my calendar, I'll go there at A and F.
That's our
And
organization
finance.
finance committee.
So I'll go up there on the 10th, we'll put it on the A and F committee for the 13th. And, you know, I can relay the conversation that happened here, happened there.
I mean,
I think the
Frankly-
employees of that's coming up.
frankly,
October.
I don't feel like it's something that we can address until we establish. See,
Yeah, so it's gonna actually go to October's A and F.
you know what I'm saying?
You're missing
But
something.
I'd like to address that.
So, Heather, can you put that on for discussion for me?
That should be plenty of time then.
Let us know when all.
I'll give you some advance notice on that.
And then, moving forward, like any emails between now and then, can you make sure you copy Christina and I in it, so we can stay in contact with the Parks Committee?
I'll get you there.
And we'll get the Parks Committee to do drive-bys out there too, to help, you know, so we both live on
Bring some water.
You live pretty close to there.
Yeah, I guess I do.
Well,
Yes, I
you're,
guess they're on their way.
oh, I guess you're on the bell now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, no,
So we'll try to, and if we see issues come up, you know, we're like, hey, just, I don't know where you're at, but we've been here for 7 days, we ain't got no rain, we'll let you know.
Okay. You're gonna get outside.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Just gonna say. Opposed? Okay.
You want it back?
Let me put mine up there too, because I don't really like hats. You're the only one not wearing one.
Everybody
You guys never back me on anything.
Welcome to my club.
At least I didn't go to a vote.
Sure, right. Oh my God, I just keep it.
I can hear myself echoing in this hat.
Are you guys ready? Ready? On three?
Where are we looking? Yeah.
Anywhere.
Just at us. This way.
Okay.
1, 2,
Can't hear yourself.
3.
Or is that just the other people in my head talking?
Everybody good? Okay, yeah.
I always get them.
Want to act like you're shoveling?
Yeah, hold on.
Go ahead. Everyone get out.
My
All right.
sandals.
All right, 2, 3. Yeah, senior heel.
All right.
All right, let's. 2, 3.
I feel like we're doing this.
One more time, Sharon and Caleb. 1, 2, 3. All right, great guys, thank you.
You are good. Let's get the design team too.
Did we break
Lori,
the ground
what's
here?
Contra-
Take up the money to pay my water bill is what it goes in shovels. Oh, yeah. Right. Here.
Here, we're behind you, so here's the shoulder.
There you go.
Looks good. 1, 2, 3.
4, 5.
6, 7, 8. All right, good. I think we're all right.
Don't back up too
Thanks,
much,
guys.
Heather.